Hi everyone, this is Bruno from House of Falcone. I am here with Matt, and this is very interesting to see when two business owners come together because we literally just met. We only seen twice of each other. We met the last time, and very, very quickly I said, "Hey, do you have time for an interview?" And you're like, "Yes, let's do it." Right?
Yeah, most definitely.
That's so good. It's so good. Thank you, my friend. The other thing as well, like, is that we did meet through like an awesome like business group, and that's what probably gets us in a commonality where we can kind of like work off of people with the same mindset, similar kind of like I do it and I do it quickly. I implement. So I'm very, very excited that you're here with me today. I wanted to ask you a little bit about your journey, because obviously we had a little bit of a chat off camera, but you started 17 years ago.
Yeah, I started my own business 17 years ago.
Wow.
Been in the financial planning industry for about 22 years now, I think, off the top of my head.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, got the opportunity at 21, was able to learn with two people that had probably combined 60 years experience.
Yep.
So there's a lot of information I got to learn that you don't get out of a textbook.
That's right.
So, you know, that's invaluable, that kind of learnings from that aspect.
Well, somebody that has like, I think that's the importance of a mentor in a way, right? Like somebody that shows you the rope and
yeah, definitely
kind of like is in front, has done it before successfully, and then so that will be your journey where you learn from somebody, but then also you're creating the experiences with them.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. And it's important, I guess, when you're starting out in business, is to have someone that you can bounce off and learn to, you know, try and fast track your knowledge, just to get your business going in whatever industry it is. So.
Well, you know, like this, not many people know it. And actually, I never mentioned this thing, but even for myself, like, you know, the way that I learn, everybody is always asking, you know, like, how are you a tailor? Like, how do you do, you know, like this, like super high quality everything? And the truth is that when I was working for big brands, you know, we're talking about like 10 years ago, like when I was working for big brands like Brioni or Canali, Palzilleri, like all of the big Italian ones, Zegna, they had their own master tailors touring the world. So they'll come to Australia, right? And they're Italian, right? So I'm Italian. We will spend the day together. Like I'll basically shadow them during the whole time they will be here. So each master tailor from these massive, incredibly beautiful brands, they'll come to Australia, and I will have the chance to spend time with them literally 24/7. And that's how, little by little, I would say I'll be literally the apprentice.
Yeah.
Can you show me this? Can you tell me how you do this? Why do you take the measurement in this specific way? And this is literally how I learn. Like,
awesome.
Through the years working for these big brands, and the master tailors coming to Australia. So very, very fortunate.
Yeah.
Like I'm very, very
well, you're getting hands-on information there, you know.
Yes.
Otherwise, you just got to sort of go through the ups and downs to work out.
But also from the book, like you just don't learn. Like, I mean, like it gives you like the basics, but then you just have to practice it. So literally in real life, I will see like different body types and different like posture, different everything, and get an understanding of how they did things, and then that's always like a very fast track learning for me. So like within 3 years, let's say, like I already was kind of like drinking from this pool of knowledge. There's like years and years of experience.
Yeah, brilliant.
For the Italians.
Yeah, awesome.
So tell me, you know, so if somebody comes and work with you, and kind of like in what part of their life would they find themselves to work with a professional like you?
Yeah. No, good question. So, I mean, we'll generally deal with sort of high net worth clients that have already got, you know, some assets and money built up from that point of view.
Yeah.
And they sort of come to that age, I guess, where it's probably, you know, sort of 45 plus. But a lot of the time too, it's like they've built their wealth, but they obviously want to continue to grow and so forth. So,
Yeah.
but I started to find now that those that have children, it's more starting, what's the legacy that they want to leave? And how do they structure that and make sure they've got the right protection in place from that point of view? So obviously they still want to grow in that, but it's the legacy now that they're working towards to make sure that there's that generational wealth that gets passed down and structuring in the right manner so it continues from generation to generation. And having that right asset protection in laws and making sure that, you know, if one child, unfortunately, marriage doesn't work out, that those assets are protected. So I find a lot of times with those high net worth clients, it's actually moving towards that legacy stage. Whilst they still, yes, you know, wanting to generate wealth, it's that legacy and how do they provide that for their children.
Yeah. And I think the great thing about what you do is that I find that especially in the last few years, and I don't know if this is just my personal view, but in the last few years, this has become accessible more and more to more people. Because I don't think even myself, like, you know, growing up, I would never have thought to have a trust fund or like never, right? And then, you know, like now I am 40 and obviously I do have a business, but then I am finding myself like, you know, working with people like yourself and kind of like have that accessibility, even though I'm not, I wouldn't consider myself like, you know, at that stage where, like I said, growing up, I would have never seen myself having that trust fund, and then now I do for the girls. So it's very interesting. And how do you find that? How do you find that jump? I guess like you have the wealthy that they already have like the investments, they growing with you and they're working really, really well. And I'm sure that you also have like that just that one step below that they just need to make the jump.
No, it's great analysis. Look, we still do get a lot of mum and dad clients. Some are in good financial positions, some aren't as great. I think a lot of the time though, you only know what you know. And a lot of them aren't educated. You know, it wasn't really something that was taught in school about how to manage money. It's always a taboo subject in Australia.
Of course.
But I guess with social media and more knowledge around in terms of, you know, setting up trusts or companies, depending what it is that you're trying to establish, and that asset protection goes a long way. But I think a lot of the times it's having that conversation with those mum and dad clients to actually understand that, you know, what is the retirement income that you want to live off? Because most of them have never even had that conversation together as a husband and wife. So there's your starting point. Right, this is the end goal we're trying to work towards. Are you minimizing tax? Because there's no point donating any more than you have to from that point of view. So, you know, making sure you get the right account, where a lot of the times people just go with the flow. You know, we get times when, even though we're not mortgage brokers, but you can just tell by the structure of the loan or the interest rate or the product to some respect isn't actually best suited to the client.
I think one other thing that I'm hearing from what you're saying is that, and you know, this is like really the value that you bring to the table. It is that strategy. I think many people out there, like they don't think, either they don't think is important, or two, like you said, they don't know what you don't know. And that strategy to say, well, what is your end goal? Like, how do you want to live by the age of 50 or by the age of 60? Like, what is what that lifestyle look like? And then how do we get to that level? Like, this is one thing that I think they do very differently from, to be honest with you, from any of the other financial planners I've been speaking to, because I think you put it into almost an education piece, right? Like it's one of the things that you, like, I think in that first session you were telling me that you kind of like walk your clients through that, don't you?
Yeah, it's just having that discussion and just going through all the different areas so they can be more educated to make a better informed decision of what they actually want to do. You'll find a lot of times that a lot of these questions actually they haven't thought of and don't have answers towards. But at least you can start to open their eyes to think bigger in terms of, well, what is that end goal of retirement? Like, are you actually on track to get there? Because most people generally just don't go down that path, and then come age 65, all right, we better get ready for planning for retirement. well, it's too late. Time's against you now.
Yeah.
So it's having those conversations and just looking at all the different areas, what protection do you need personally? What is it that you need to build wealth? Are you wanting to leave a legacy for your kids? I know a lot of parents joke at times and go, oh, no, I'm going to spend all the inheritance. But at the same time, deep down, a lot of them do obviously want to help out their kids. So it's having those conversations.
I think, I mean, it sounds like, like one of the ideal people that you want to speak to, like it is a person around the 40-year-old mark or 45, where I guess if they have been building the wealth, they're already like at a good stage of their life and they already have, let's say, well, having a good wealth doesn't mean, let's say, something like having a few investment properties or having some money in the stock market. Is that what we're talking about? Like in terms of
definitely in terms of wealth, there's all those different kind of assets. But I guess you need to look at it more of what's the passive income that you're trying to generate? Because at the end of the day, people work, they get their superannuation, and then obviously once they stop work, generally that income stops.
Correct.
So what you want to look at is how do you generate more passive investments so that way you're still continuing to bring that income stream in at retirement.
Yeah.
Ideally, if someone wants to live off $200,000 a year, if you can generate that passive income just through different investments and then the superannuation is just an added bonus, then fantastic.
Perfect.
It's just opening people's eyes up to go, well, don't just rely on your superannuation. Yeah, you might get you there and that's fine. But look at other income from passive investments that will draw you that income. And look, that'll be property, that could be shares, sometimes dividend portfolios. But it's a matter of just going, well, what's that income that you...
Or businesses, like
and businesses.
Like even owning a business where it doesn't require you to, I guess, be like on a day-to-day. Like it could be a long phone.
That would be, that's an ideal scenario, is having a business that continues to operate without you needing to be there other than just to check in. We do come across, a lot of self-employed people where their superannuation is their business, but that really shouldn't be a catalyst to fall back on because you don't know if is legislation going to potentially change the outcome of what your business valuation might be. Or I guess with AI starting to move into the space, is that going to slowly take over what your business is and therefore you're not going to get the multiple?
Yeah.
And I generally find that they're not having that conversation of the retirement planning and being creative in terms of minimising tax along the way. Because at the end of the day, superannuation is a tax minimisation vehicle. So it should be used where it's benefited, but having that conversation with your accountant to work out what you should or shouldn't be contributing.
Yeah.
But working towards getting those passive investments and how do you best get there and getting the right professionals to give you the right advice up front. Because I've seen plenty of times over the years where there's a nasty surprise later down the track when you go, this wasn't set up right and it's now going to cost you $40,000
and all of the
to fix
tax.
it up.
Yeah. Now, obviously, myself, I'm 40. I got a business. I got investments, and I do get a grasp of what we're talking about. But if we were to simplify it a little bit for the person that it's new to like the idea, to the understanding of what it is to work on your wealth, can we lay down like a few points that's gonna make a person walk the right path, going towards the right direction.
Yeah.
So let's go like like a 35-year-old household of 2 children, little children. What should they do? What are a few points that will put them in the right place by the time they're 45? And then they will get themselves set up with someone like you.
Look, there's obviously a lot of areas of advice that relate to financial planning, and yes, sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming because you're looking at retirement planning, superannuation, minimising tax, your estate planning, your personal insurances, just to name a few. I would say the first starting point for anyone is actually understanding your cash flow. You'd be surprised how many people we meet and they don't actually know what their gross income is.
Yes.
So how do you know what you're working with to set yourself up if you don't even know what's coming in the door?
Yes.
So I generally say the best thing to do is actually go, right, what income's actually coming in? Go and do an expense planner. I know it's boring, but at the end of the day, you should be knowing what you're spending your money on.
Yes.
when you do that, it'll actually help you identify where you might be actually wasting money, or where can you go and shop around and sharpen the pencil and save a few dollars here and there.
Yes.
Then that way you go, all right, this is what's coming in, this is what's going out, what's left in between. All right, well, what do you do with that money that's in between?
Yes.
I found when clients have gone through that exercise, they actually start becoming a bit more savvy in terms of, do I need to actually buy that, and not be impulsive?
Yes.
And so they start seeing their bank accounts build because they're saving and being smarter with their money.
Yeah.
And then it's directing them to be in a position where they can start buying and creating additional wealth through other assets.
Yeah. So it's really like spending habits, understanding what's coming in, what's going on. It's almost like a P&L.
Yeah, 100%. No different for a business. But do it yourself individually, so you know where you stand.
That's super interesting.
Look, and I generally find for a husband and wife, one's the spender, one's the saver. So we generally take the money away from the spender, do an allocation to them, just because they do impulsively buy. But by understanding your numbers and putting some structure in place, it does allow you to grow. And I see people, they get excited and they go, oh, where else, or what do I not need to spend on, or where can I be smarter with my money?
And once you have a little bit of a pool to work with, what are the typical like investment mediums that one could take?
Yeah. Look, tax bonds are really good. If you sit in those investments for after 10 years, there's no capital gains tax on any investment earnings.
So what are they called?
It's called a 10-year tax investment bond.
Okay.
So there's certain rules around with it in that regard, but if you meet all those rules and you hold that investment for after 10 years, there's no capital gains tax on the earnings of that investment. So if it is a long-term investment that you want to do, that's a good vehicle from that aspect. Obviously Australians love property. Depending on the equity and the serviceability of you getting that, getting property can be a very good investment as part of your overall wealth creation. And, it can become a passive income investment later down the track.
Yes.
Then you do get shares and managed fund portfolios as well. I guess it comes down to that end goal, but there's a wide range of different investments that you can look at. I generally find a lot of clients that get referred to us do come with a property orientation, so to speak, which is totally fine. Because obviously we've seen how ridiculous growth has gone in the property and probably why they continue to do so. So that's one probably main aspect people come with, but there are other parts of investments that you can use to build.
And I think it depends on the risk management, right? Like what level of risk they're prepared to have, and that they're okay with.
Yeah, and we have questionnaires that we do that help identify that. Some people are real risk takers, some are very conservative, and some are in the middle. So you've just got to find those right investments and where that money gets allocated.
I think we just found a second thing that you're very unique, right? I think we started with one of the pieces that are very important, like that makes it different, in my opinion, is the education piece. And now number two, we just found the fact that you actually take a moment and take time to understand what kind of level of risk people are willing to take.
Yeah, definitely. And you find closer to with the retirees as well, that what's the passive income that you want each year? All right, well, what's the return that you need to achieve that? And it might be that you don't need 90% of your money in shares and take that high risk. It could just be that you need to be a lot more conservative, aiming towards that return that you need, knowing that you can continue to get that income stream that you need from your investments.
That's so good. The one thing that I wanted to talk about, I think, it's also the fact that you've, you got all of these years of experience. I mean, like 17 years in business, it's absolutely massive. Like, I think for a lot of the people out there, you look so young. Like, to me, I didn't think that it was 17 years in business. But that makes a very, very big difference, because I can even relate to myself whenever, I started my journey just as a technician, so working for another company. And, I made my mistakes, like, my tailoring mistakes on people, like, and then I had to fix them, and kind of like makes you understand where all of the, like, the holes are that you shouldn't fall into. And in a similar way, like during 17 years of your own career, like you would have done your mistakes, and now like that, and I think this is your third best quality, is that somebody that comes to you, like they can be happy with the fact that you already made those mistakes, that you already got all of this experience on your shoulders, and it's going to make a big difference for versus anybody else that might just start like the journey. Nothing against the person that just started, or like they because you want to give it
Well, you got to start somewhere, right? And mistakes are how you learn and grow.
But that is the reason why I guess the wealthy they'll come to you, because you've done those mistakes, you got the experience, you got the education, you got the care for the clients when they wanna. You care about what kind of level of risk do they are able to take on. So I think, I mean, there's three things already that we found.
Yeah, and I think too, Bruno, as well, is like we always refer it to your A team, but it's making sure you have the right professionals around you. Obviously, we look at the financial planning aspect, but generally there'll be a mortgage broker involved. There'll be a solicitor to do your estate planning. I get a lot of business owners complain about their accountants, but a lot of the time it's just not having that conversation with your accountant and what can you actually do for me? But what it is making sure that you've got those right professionals around you, because at the end of the day, it all links together. Yeah. So you can get it all structured up right up front, making sure that, moving forward, it's all in the right place. So, because we come across a lot of times when things just haven't been structured properly, or a mortgage broker might cross-collateralize a home when it doesn't need to be just because it's lazy.
Yeah.
But all you're doing is looking after the bank instead of the client. Well, you're not really doing your job properly.
Yeah.
So we always look at that, because there's a lot of offshoots of those needs for clients that haven't been addressed.
Yeah.
And making sure they've got the right professionals to help them in that area just guarantees to make sure that, later on down the track, there aren't going to be any hidden surprises because it was structured correctly up front.
That's it. And today we got, so it sounds like a joke, financial planner and a tailor walk into a room. So what made you say yes, I guess, like to working with me? Like, what was the reason behind, like, for you to come and visit someone like me that, that work on your image? And I know that you have like some definitely some upcoming branding moments, like personal branding moments. You'll be speaking at the Sydney Opera House. That's a massive event.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah,
definitely.
And I mean, and that's, I guess, a fourth piece where, like all of a sudden you are the authority in your industry, and you are a leader changing the industry itself. So what made you come and say, I guess, hi to your Italian tailor?
Yeah. Actually, my surname's Italian background, not that I look it, obviously, in any shape or form. But, I mean, we obviously had a few brief conversations, just like your report, and in that respect. I think another thing too, though, it does come with credibility when you are around other sort of business owners, entrepreneurs, and there's other people that are speaking of you and what you do. And it just gives that little bit of extra credibility piece to say, well, Bruno's the man to go and see to get a suit. Well, when you hear that a few times, you should listen, right? So that made me go, all right, well, I need to get a new suit to go up on stage because, got to look good. So, and, I heard numerous people mention your name. So I was like, quickly came and had a chat with you last week and said, hey, let's have a chat. Yeah. You then said, should we have a, conversation on the podcast? I was like, yeah, I could probably sit here all day and just chinwag about topics. But just talking with like-minded people and entrepreneurs from that point of view, and just sharing ideas, and that's how you learn and grow as well, right?
So it's kind of like you had like this chat with other entrepreneurs, like-minded people. They were like, they went through the process, right? They're like, it really changed my appearance, my presence, or whatever. And then you were like, kind of like, yeah, I'll take a little bit of that.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to ask you, I guess, like, why do you think it's important for you to present in a certain way when you be on stage? Like, this is the Sydney Opera House in front of other PAs, other entrepreneurs that you will not know. So it's kind of like your first time presence. So why is that important for you to present yourself at best?
Yeah, look, that's a good question. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you do, you need to have a professional image. God, this could have been 15 years ago. I heard this, but I heard someone on stage speak that you just never know who you might bump into.
Mm-hmm.
So even going to the shop, don't just wear your daily Sunday clothing. Just still look presentable enough, because you just don't know who you might bump into that could have some influence or want to be a client. Presentation is key. A lot of people judge a book by its cover, but even though they say don't judge a book by its cover, that's the reality. People do judge a book by its cover. So look presentable, look smart. At the end of the day, it's no different if you wanted to do business or do something with someone. You're going to pick someone that looks more presentable than someone that just, looks like a drag, so to speak.
So I think, like what I'm hearing is, in your specific case, it's a matter of not leaving money on the table. So like there's a possibility of finding clients. There's a possibility of probably even, it doesn't even have to be clients. It can be bumping into somebody that can introduce you to a pool of clients.
Most definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
And then, you being presented in a professional manner, and also a professional manner that it's authentic to you.
Yeah.
Because I think even just today, like you chuck on this beautiful jacket and it's a little bit more casual, more, it tells me a little bit more about your type of persona, which is unique to you. It doesn't have to be a suit. Sometimes it doesn't have to be. So I think it's very important to present yourself in a very authentic way. But then by doing so, then you get that chance to get the client, or you get the chance to, maybe like speak with somebody that can introduce you to a pool.
100%. And you need to look at that image. I guess I look at it too, Bruno. Like if someone came in off the street and you were wearing, flip flops and a tank top and boardies, but you're selling quality suits. You might have a second guess and sort of go, "Oh, does this person really know what they're doing? They're telling me a suit, but look what they're wearing." So you need to be the part of, I guess, in what you're involved in regardless of whatever occupation it might be.
No, for sure. And then the last question I wanted to ask you is, so let's say that you walk into a room with nobody, that you don't know anybody. So like, there's like various like networking events, there's Chamber of Commerce, there is, all sorts of networking events where you need to walk into a room and, the ultimate goal, it is to get clients. But what would it be, what would you think the difference will be if you were to, I guess, present yourself the way that you want to be presented, and what kind of effect would that have on the room? Do you think you will be magnetizing, like people come to you, or do you think there'll still be a matter of like you being able like to walk with confidence to somebody? Like, what do you think?
It's a good, interesting question. Look, I suppose in the LA, if you go to these networking events, you want to dress to impress. From that point of view, you do need to talk to people, and if you're not a people person, then that's definitely not the place for you. But I think by just going there and listening to people's stories, where they've come from, having those conversations, I find it doesn't matter where it is. Australia's a small place, and generally there's someone that knows someone from a connection point of view. So I think if you're going with confidence, it does repel. If you're going in all shy, and that people can read that body language, and it might be, well, do I really want to work with this person? So have that confidence. Go in there and speak to people, and don't go in there and just talk about yourself necessarily, other than getting to understand and learn that individual better. And look, there may be a connection, there may not. But you just don't know too. They might be in a field where you go, all right, well, how can I add value to your business?
I never thought of that. So like, if somebody's shy or not confident, that thinking behind it, do I want to do business with this person? And do you think then in that specific case would feeling confident because of the outfit might help? Walk into the room, own it.
If you look at 100%. If you're looking nice and you're actually, enjoy the attire that you're wearing, it's definitely got to give you a bit of swag and
a little bit of a boost.
100%.
A little boost.
If it's just an extra 1% that adds value to yourself, to position to people, then why
and sometimes it might make the difference between a yes or no.
Yeah. I mean, if you're buying slacks from Kmart or Target or something compared to wearing a nice suit, then, it's going to make a difference, I would have thought. For
That's
sure.
it. I love it, man. Well, Matt, thank you so much for being with us. I think the cool thing about this chat that we had is that I feel like we really added value to like the listener because you did like lay down a couple of like good strategies or at least like an introduction to what it is, what it means to invest, what it means to create wealth, what it means to speak to a professional like yourself, especially when it comes to setting up all of the right vehicles. So, you can control, you get control over what you can control.
Yeah, 100%.
So like tax or, all those fees that you don't want to pay. So I think, it's very, very important that, whenever you are on your wealth creation path, you speak with somebody like Matt. And if they wanted to get in contact with you, like what would be the best possible way?
Look, right on the different social media platforms. LinkedIn's got my personal number, or you can go to futurevest.com.au, reach out. Happy just to have an initial discussion just to see where we can help and add value to your situation.
Love it.
I just think a lot of the time it's just starting somewhere. Work out what's the end goal that you're trying to work towards. Have that conversation with your spouse, because most times people haven't. But yeah, look, we just have that conversation with people, go through their goals, identify what they're trying to achieve in life, and then from there tailor a strategy for them in terms of, all right, this is how you're going to get there to that end goal.
That's amazing. Thank you again, Matt, for being here with me. And I can't wait to see your stage presence with House of Person.
Yeah, no, sounds good, Bruno. Thanks very much for having me, and look forward to doing it again.
Awesome. Hey, cheers.